to the gallows. If you find yourself alone, do not be troubled. You are in Elysium. Do you dare to fall? To Elysium, descend upon her palace paradise.
Hello everybody and welcome to round 4, the final round of 2022 as we are at Kyalami for the VRS Pro Series. Tonight is going to be absolutely mental. We've got lots to go through before we kick off the proceedings tonight. Cannot wait to see just how close his first qualifying session is going to be. Based on what I've seen in practice 1, it is going to be insane. Can't wait for it. Alright, let's put the music away. We have to get this show on the road. There is lots to cover before we head to the track. And first and foremost, g'day chat. How are we? Hope we're all well out there. Hope you can hear me, because there's been a few times I've done introductions and wasted breath. But is it ever wasted? Yeah, probably. Alright, the first thing we're going to go through tonight is the ugly livery round for the Rookie Series on Tuesday night. They had a competition. They could win some DLC. What they have to do is make something look disgusting on track. And didn't they do that? So this is the first car. I'm going to put the voting up right now. Please look at the cars before you vote. Alright, car 1. This is car 1. This is the 67 Ferrari. Little number there with light blues and greens and purples and reds and all that jazz. It's not great. It's not great. So I will show you this during the night. It won't be just a final vote. In between sessions we'll whip these out as well. So yeah, that's the 67 Ferrari. Then we've got the number 6 Mercedes, and that's not something I'd like to bring home to my parents. That's seen some shit. That has seen some shit. And if you're the paint man actually throwing that on the car, you're probably taking a few weeks off afterwards. So that's the number 6 Mercedes. Then we've got the number 18 Nissan. Now, this is a bit of a cause for debate. I didn't pick the cars. I don't actually think that looks too bad. I don't want to sway the votes, but unless the yellow and the chrome red, the green hasn't helped it, I'll admit. But that's the 18 Nissan. And the final one, it looks like we've just found Bigfoot because of the quality of it, but there's a Porsche number 88. Orange and God knows what that colour is, with red rims. Also not great. John still doesn't see an ugly livery. So alright, let's recapping in the votes. We've got, that's wait for later, the 67 Ferrari. We've got the 6 Mercedes. We've got the 18 Nissan. And we've got the 88 Yeti Porsche. We'll touch back on those shortly. Let's just head down to the circuit. Put that up there. Oh, that's tight at the top. That is going to be insane in 10 minutes' time. Alright, let's discuss this Sprint Series standings. Alright, let's recap. So, brilliant season all around from everybody. Had 3 splits in Asia Pacific, 1 in Europe and 1 in North America. Shout out to all of you who participated and raced in the majority of the rounds. For Split Sunset in Asia Pacific, the Pro Series champion is Jean-Pierre Sonikas. He finishes with 839 points, knocking off his brother John Sonikas with Ashton Reynolds in P3. This is a spicy one. In the Pro-Am class, tied with all the tiebreakers used, Tom McDonald and Sean Bubnow, P1 in Pro-Am, with Josh Breen only 7 points behind in P3. And Joshua Morgan another 6 points further back. So Very, very spicy in the Pro-Am class in the split sunset. For the AM class, it's Andy Bishop taking the win from John Stockton and Michael Crick. So recapping, Jean-Pierre Sneakers, Pro, Tom McDonald, Sean Bubner, Pro-Am, and Andy Bishop in the AM class. I don't think we've had a tie like that before, especially one that hasn't actually been able to be split with the tiebreakers. So we'll add another tiebreaker point next year, but we didn't say it this year, so we can't really use it. So well done those guys. Alright, let's move over to split Ascari. No surprises here. Matthew Lamb, P1, 933 points. We've got Ali Kyrud in P2 with 684, and Paul Britz P3 with 637. All three of those gentlemen are racing tonight. All I expect to do very, very well. In the Pro-Am class, taking the win by 3 points, just 3 points, is Shane McLaws, followed by Austin McNeil. Those are the top two, with Christopher Taylor finishing only 8 points further adrift with 315. Very, very tight there. In the AM class, we had James Lorenz, number 1, Nick Davidson, P2, and Derek Nagel, P3. So recapping, Matthew Lamb was the Pro Champion in Split Ascari, Shane McLaws, Pro-Am Champion, and James Lorenz in AM win. Split Beckets, the late night Thursday night split, aka Split Blood. P1, again, not surprising, Luca Giacomin with 818 points. In P2 was Demario Hasnam with 730, and Lucas Burrs was P3, only doing one less race. So that's a fair effort there by Lucas. In the Pro-Am class, and probably looking at moving up to Pro after a great win last round, is Tafiq Mohin on 482, dominating Pro-Am class at the end there with that win, taking it over Ramez Samuel. And in P3 was Mitchell, Ugly Liveries Are My Forte, Bendish. And AM class we had Mohammed Zikri, Damiano Thurcolini, and Zach Graham, 1, 2, 3. So recapping split brackets, Luca Giacomin, Pro win. Pro-Am win was Tafiq Mohin, and in AM was Mohammed Zikri. I'm fairly sure. Yep. Moving over to the Europes. In P1, oh, this is going to test me. From the Netherlands, car 18, 815 points. We already Rombots. That's as good as enough as I'm going to try. P2 was Chris Vining, who's racing tonight, and Daniel Hearn in P3. Those two were separated by 3 points. In the Pro-Am class, we had Amon Tully, 454, dominating in the end there, taking the win over Matty Sack and Sven Vischer. And in the AM class, we have Martin Hansen, P1, Fabian Schapp, and in P3, Craig Starkey. So recapping, ready on. It's We Already Rombots. Amon Tully, Martin Hansen. And over to the United States of America, aka North America. Sorry, I can't just say that. And Canada and Mexico and everyone else in South America. We had a Canadian winner. It was Hamza Golza, a name you might have been very familiar with, dominating proceedings. He takes the win over Skylar Loverink, who I think got a win in the last round. And in P3, Timothy Flamga. That's what I'm going to go with. Our Pro-Am class from Brazil is Wilson Fernandez. In P2 is Jonathan Clifford. And in P3 is the Australian over in America, Steve Davis. And in AM class we had Kevin Paradis. G'day Kevin, I saw you in chat before. Darren Wicks P2 and Sam Rayworth P3. So recapping, corkscrew, Golzar was P1. In Pro, Wilson Fernandez P1 in Pro-Am, and Kevin Paradis, P1 in AM class. And that is the Sprint Series standings and split and class winners for 2022 season. Oh, God knows what it is now, 11. So there you go. There you go. We'll put all this up in Discord as well, and we'll announce a few more things as well as that. Splits. What other split was there? I won't really need to discuss the rookies because, that's a disgusting lap I've just witnessed. But yeah, Sprint Series and Rookie Series registrations are now open. Head to the website or go to the Discord links and sign up. Quite a lot have already signed up, so especially if you're in Asia Pacific, please don't delay signing up because you may miss out. And other than that, let's get ready to rock and roll here in the Pro Series. Just going to go find some little bits and bobs. Now, in the Pro Series, we have... Come on, computer. It is very hot where I am, and my computer died. This is the standings after round 3. So the VRS Pro Series, Grantas Caracas, he's won. He's done it. He's got it in the books. But P2 and P3 are wide open. There is a drop round. Even without the drop round, Grantas has done enough with his epic little fight last week. Last round. He didn't have it all his own way until probably the last 15 minutes. Baqueta's in currently in P2, Burr's P3. Throw a blanket over the rest. There's a big chance you'll see a few big jumpers tonight. So that's where it sits. Tonight's race, we've got 2 races for you. We've got a 25-minute race 1 with a little short qualifying beforehand. Then we've got the super qualifying, which is the top 10 from race 1. Heads to race 2 for a reverse grid, and then the next 11 from 11 down, they hit the super qualifying, and they're going to set their grid order in that little 6-minute splash and dash. And it's at Kyalami, and if anything that you've seen at Kyalami before, she's going to be something. But we've seen some great racing so far during this series. G'day Ben, g'day Ben B, Ben B, Chris, Dirty, Scan, John Peach, Craig, how are we all? A couple of drivers are missing this evening. We've got Fadley, who's doing VCO. He had to change his stint, so he's unable to compete. But his teammate, I'm pretty sure Milana, is out there tonight. And a few people that missed last round are back in. So following all the races tonight, we will do the Sprint Series prize winners. There's 2 of you. That's for the Patreons. And we will do the prize draw for the Pro Series entrants that competed in 3 rounds or more. Plus announce the actual final top 10 for our very first Pro Series. So there's a lot going on tonight. Can't wait to be here, and joining me in the booth, he probably doesn't hear me yet because I'm set to push to talk. Welcoming Frank Frankfurt to the commentary booth. G'day Frank, how are you, young man?
G'day Neil, and to everyone. Looking forward to what is going to be the last round of the inaugural VRS Pro Series here from Kyalami, a very popular circuit amongst a vast majority of the drivers ever since its induction in one of the first DLCs that they put out for this game. I think Tom is with us as well. Tom, how are you going?
I'm very good, mate. Good evening to everyone. Looking forward to some qualifying at Kyalami. There's some pretty rapid times coming out.
All right, gents, I'll leave you to it. Have a great call, and I'll see you very shortly.
Thank you, Mullet. We'll catch you a bit later as we follow Zachary Smith out after his P2 in the F1 Legends Series T1. Coming down to turn 2 now.
Yeah, Smithy is a quick driver regardless of the type of vehicle. A very good all-rounder. So currently sitting in the top 10, would really like to solidify finishing in the top 10 in a very, very competitive field. Tonight needs a decent result.
Yep, and a reverse grid. If you bail out of race 1, reverse grid gives you the chance to make up for it race 2. So we'll wait and see how race 1 goes, and then you know what? There's probably going to be some chaos in race 2 just because of that reverse grid.
Yeah, it always is that potential with some of the faster drivers coming through the field. I'd like to think that a lot of the drivers here will be pretty sensible, especially those with a lot to play for. But we'll see who's got the setup dialed in for Kyalami. Can be fast, very technical as well, and there's a couple of spots here that will penalise you for being overly greedy, as we see one of those spots coming up right now for Smithy, and that is the fast kink of cheetah. And it is deadly if you get that wrong.
Yeah, no, there is a sausage curb right in the middle there that if you nail it, it'll bite and flick you out into the sand trap. But we'll follow him as he starts a qualifying lap down into turn 1 in inverted commas with a little bit of a kink. Tyres all up to temperature. We'll brake about 100 metres for the first real corner, turn 2. Gets it tucked nicely into the apex, and then we're flat through turns 3 and 4. And up into the really awkward braking zone for turn 5, uphill over a crest, real understeer generator corner, but he's negotiated that pretty well.
Yeah, he certainly negotiated those first couple of corners pretty well. It helps that he's hasn't got any traffic, so there's no car sort of throwing off his brake points, so you can spot them pretty clearly as comes through now. This section here I found caught me and probably a lot of other drivers through here. You can just sort of get the car out of shape through this left-right. The momentum can just send your car understeer out into that gravel, and it is bad times for everyone as we come up to the uphill tight, one of the slowest corners on the track, as make our way through. I think this is Mineshaft, I believe.
Yep, this is Mineshaft. Fast left-hand kink on the back straight. And then we brake hard again about 100 metres for, I cannot remember, I think this is Barbecue or Crocodiles. But
it might be Crocodiles, I think.
Yep.
As you can see, you can run it very, very wide out there. It's paved right out, and that's Cheetah, as we were speaking about, as Philippa Bakita puts in the fastest lap with a 1:39.777, as we see what Zachary Smith is going to put up, and it is going to be a P2. About 5 tenths behind Philippa's time so far. So not a bad lap from Smithy first out.
Matt Lamb just went up to P2, a 10th off Philippa as well. So we're right into the 39s, which is incredibly rapid. And we follow Ali Khairudin in the McLaren. Very pretty white McLaren, white and red.
Yes, can't say I've never seen a red and white McLaren before in my time of watching racing, as I just a little bit facetious there. One of the sole McLarens, I think, is Ali Khairudin in that red and white livery. So very, very obvious, not with just the livery, but the car shape and make as a general rule. As start to see some more times coming in now. Stephen Ty up into P5, Corey Sweet P6.
Damari Hasnan P7 after probably a less than comfortable sprint round for him here on Thursday night in a split Beckett's. It's a good lap time from him. There's a bit of a gap then back to Kenneth Portis the second and McKellar in P9.
Yeah, as we go through the drivers that are here, there is one notable exception that isn't, and that's Granis Karakis. Can't see a name on the board. I think Granis is not going to be here this round, so this is Philippa's time to try and steal the inaugural season at the death. Let's watch another very, very capable driver who's done very well in this inaugural season, Lucas Burse.
Yeah, Philippa was meant to be out for a long time, as Matthew Lamb does a 39.6 to go a tenth and a half ahead of Philippa. Yeah, Philippa was originally out, Grant has also left us because he has an endurance race tomorrow to prepare for his Lucas burst. I think that might be a invalidation there. But Philip has come back in after Grant has bailed out for an endurance race that he's doing tomorrow. So the championship fight is now back alive again.
Yes, as Lucas, I think you're right. I think it got invalidated just going a little bit wide as Zachary Smithy is going out again. Currently sitting just under 5/10 from Lamb, who's in P1. Kicking up a little bit of dirt on the exit there. A little bit sideways in that Porsche. As has a car in front very quickly catching, so I wonder if that's going to just ruin this qualifying attempt first up.
Yeah, no, it was definitely doing some Porsche things through Sunset there, but he's on top of it is Paul Britt, and I think he might actually get a really nice tow from this orange Porsche ahead down the back straight. I don't think he's close enough for any sort of dirty air or anything like that to really, unless it distracts him, to really sort of put him off or cause some performance issues for him.
Apologies, that's Paul Britt. Sorry, I thought that was Zachary Smith. My apologies, as Philippa snatches pole position back with a 39.4. Let's just start to see some cars parking themselves in interesting spots. What can Paul Britt do? Just got to get it right for this last heavy braking zone.
Yeah, really awkward sort of exit. It's not really sort of obvious that, you know, it's not the sort of the acceleration point isn't particularly obvious, and that's
that was an interesting park job.
that's a sim racing park job if I've ever seen one.
That will get you very big smacks in the real world. Meanwhile, we'll head down the field a bit. We'll go to Brad Cook in the Pertec liveried Honda.
That lap for Paul Britt pretty much P3 3/10 off. So in the hunt, as we follow Brad Cook into the last corner here, gets that nose tucked right in, then lets the car loose, wanders wide. You've obviously got a lot of room out there to not invalidate, but he'll come across the line. Does not improve.
So back to Ali Khairudin, who's now just finishing up a lap. Currently sitting P18, 1.6 seconds back. Let's see, he does improve, goes P15, 1.4, so about 2/10 there. As we jump on the highway patrol car of Benjamin Hignett.
Who's driving the safety car today, do we know? Do we have a safety car?
Mullock is, I believe.
There we go.
He's doing all the jobs at the moment.
Hopefully not running it with the keyboard like he does for his exploratory laps and rookies.
Well, there's a bit of camera control work there from Mullock, just in the affirmative. As Hignett goes P15, 1.3 back from, I think it's still Philippa in P1.
Yep, definitely. 700, and she's back out in circuit as well, so might see some times come down again. The track is slowly warping up a little bit, so car's performance probably not is starting to fall away from us a little bit, but the track's also rubbering in and people sort of getting their eye in as well. Follow Stephen Ty, who's just under 6/10 off the pace, probably looking to probably jump Zach Smith and maybe Paul Britt with a better lap, but pretty smooth. I say that as he trips over the curb on the outside of Crocodiles there. Gets it through Cheetah, a little bit wide on the grass, gets away with it, down into the last corner. I think we are doing a prep for the next lap with this one.
So Stephen Ty with a couple of tenths will jump a couple of spots, very tight there, sort of P3 to P5, but not as tight as P1 to P2. 700ths between Bakita and Lamb currently as we jump down to the Apple Porsche with Demario Hasnam.
Bit more exciting a livery than his Sprint Series one. Yeah, NML Racing, we definitely try to call corners by their names, but my memory and my pronunciations are usually not good enough to get away with it all the time. So
This Hasnam down in P11. Corey Sweet, that's very wide. That's pretty much going to be an extension that you're not going to get away with. So I think Corey might just back out of that one and load up and go again as we go to the other Apple Porsche. This is Ristofani.
Bringing the neck of that Porsche through Sunset and into Clubhouse.
A little bit wide, but might just get away with that.
Well, he's flung it into the S's, so I think the lap's still on. We'll keep following him all the way up the hill towards Leocop, the hairpin before the back straight. Yeah, he's still on the lap, so I think it's still good. Gets the nose tucked right in and smoothly runs the car. There's a couple of lines you can take on the exit of Leocop. You can either run it really wide or sort of keep it narrow and sort of minimise the track distance.
Yes, and as we go through this fast, flowy section at the end of the lap, just got to negotiate Cheetah and the last corner. First job done. Uses the ripple strip and now pulls the car up, runs it wide as you can to get the good exit. And Ristofani, this will be his first lap up into P9, so that's not a first bad hit out.
Just looking for some names that we might expect a bit further up. I think Lucas Burse invalidated a good lap, so I expect him to step up a little bit further and get closer towards that sort of high 39s, mid 39s. We know he's capable of that.
Yeah, another one that's probably not as far up as they would like is Alexis Bone, sorry. As Bakita extends that gap now, 1.6, oh sorry, 16 hundredths now. So
We got there.
we got there in the end. As now Corey Sweet, currently sitting in the standings, sitting about P11, I think. So currently sitting where the standings would suggest, but as we get a notification by race control that is a lap record for OR at Kyalami. So if you want to know the sort of talent we got going around at the moment, Philippa's showing exactly what's on tap for tonight.
Absolutely, and that won't be the only lap record Philippa has at OOR either. So Corey Sweet, that's his qualifying done. He parks the car up. There's not enough time for him to go around again. We'll follow Kenneth Portis II in his Air Force Tribute liveried Honda. Barry Leocop looks like we're on a push lap because he's running a little bit of understeer over the top there. And we let the car loose through mineshaft.
Yeah, getting towards the end of the qualifying session. If you're not on a lap now and you're not crossing the line in the next minute, then you're done. So Kenneth will get another crack at it as long as he's got fuel. Let's head down to that really heavy braking zone, running it out onto the main straight, and it is going to be, just moves up the one position in a very log jammed P11 down to about P16, I want to say. There's only a couple of tenths separating all of that, so that'll be very interesting to see once the race kicks off.
Yeah, no, Regan Herbert and P8 all the way down to sort of, your Ben Hignett. That's 6 or 7 tenths, which that's just a good qualifying lap. You could easily jump 6 or 7 places by improving 2 or 3 tenths within quite a, as you said, quite a log jam. But even then down to sort of P22, Charles Clark, who's 1.7 seconds, it's only 2 tenths up to P16. So plenty of time to move around. And yeah, Scotty poles are 39.3 at the moment, I believe.
Ooh, I think either Vining's got connection issues or is trying to run the NASCAR line through along the wall.
I would hope that's hardware issues. But P2 Matt Lamb, he's got to find a 10.5 to beat Philip up. And if anyone can do it, he's probably the man to do it in Granter's absence.
Yeah, he's going to, I think, just get away with the traffic in front. don't think he'll get impeded, but it's going to take a lap record to do it. But Philippa has put the cue in the rack. Pretty happy with a lap record. And
That's invalidated.
Lamb's put that away as well, as Regan Herbert has decided he doesn't want the deposit back on that one. Meanwhile, Ristofani, one of the few left out there, still on a fast lap. Only needs a couple of tenths to jump a number of spots.
Yeah, he's got pace, but his last race here at the Sprint Series on Thursday night was messy, to say the least. So he'll be looking forward to probably having a slightly cleaner run today. We come across the line and goes up to P8, jumps Regan Herbert. So there we go. That's qualifying done. Philippa Paquita on pole with a 39.3. Matt Lamb 1.5 tenths behind in P2. Paul Britt P3. So we've got 3 minutes before the race starts.
So everybody in chat, get your predictions in now. As we take a look at the standings just before we kick off here. As we said, Grandis not here this week. Philippa Paquita. All the work to do to overthrow Grandis. Can she do it? Definitely got the pace with a lap record. It's all about keeping out of trouble.
Yeah, she basically needs I can't remember the points, but a race win will do it. And she's definitely... Race 1, I think, gets you 50 points. So it'll get her halfway there, and then hopefully in race 2 she can keep her nose clean and keep moving through the field and maybe have the opportunity to take over the lead.
So all here to play for. What she does not want is to get caught up in something and have to go in and get damage repaired or have to make an unscheduled stop. That's going to make it really hard for her. So Lucas Burrs currently holding on to the last spot on the podium for the season. Does have a fairly comfortable lead over Paul Britt, but as we say, anything can happen.
And good note from John there. Top 3 cars are all Porsches. Then a Honda, then Zach Smith and Rana Matana in P7 in the sole front engine cars in the top 10.
Yeah, what a turnaround this has been for the Porsches from the last couple of updates. You go back, wind the clock back to the start of this year, and there weren't many people picking the Porsche as an all-round good car. There was certainly a lot more McLarens and Lamborghinis and that sort floating around, but the Porsche has really come alive towards the end of this year.
Yeah, but as it was noted, that it's still got a little bit of a straight line speed disadvantage over everything else. So it'll be challenging for those guys to come back in race 2, but if you can do a 39.3, you can probably pass most people pretty easily. So we look forward to that content as we do a rundown of the liveries for this final round of the VRS Pro Series. A lot of front engine cars down here.
Yeah, the main thing though is this doesn't have overly long straights, so that disadvantage is fairly well negated. As we are about to head off on the side of lap. So we get the old flash of the lights, safety car rolling out.
Go keyboard man. We'll let the safety car trundle around, take everyone around to get everything into gear. And chat, look forward to some more predictions from you guys.
Very interesting turn 1. It goes out very wide at the apex of the corner, then the track narrows as you sort of come around into turns 2 and 3. So that's generally where you see a fair bit of the action, where all the cars condense back onto the one racing line.
Yeah, and fact the track sort of ducks left and right through turns 3 and 4. If you're not wary, you know, you can have a car just sort of be on the inside when you weren't really expecting it and be a bit stuck almost. Scarney going for a safety car for an incident at Crocodiles. That's I don't think we saw one. Saw one of those Crocodile safety car this week in the Sprint Series.
This section here, I feel this is where people try and get a move done very early, and maybe the tyres just aren't up to temp, and they'll just understeer out, and there's not a lot of runoff here, and there is a lot of pain. So this section here up to Le Coupe, the hairpin, this is where I find on the opening laps you can get a lot of incidents, especially when your tyres just aren't quite there yet.
Yeah, definitely. It does open out a little bit. Yeah, shout out to Callum Gibbons and Joseph Morgan, both out with COVID, unfortunately. So all the best, boys, for your recoveries. Hopefully it doesn't bite you too hard. We look forward to having you back in seasons in the future as the cars line up double file.
Yep. So it's going to be Bakita with Lamb alongside, and then Britt and Burrs on the second row.
I reckon Lucas Burst will be backing himself in with the Honda there. It launches well. It's got some good straight line speed. He'd be backing himself in to at least get past, you know, a Paul Britt or something like that.
And I'm going to back Tom Maloney to call the start of this one.
Someone backs me for once. Excellent. All right, Philippa Bakita leads them round the final corner. We grid up and we wait for the lights to go green. It tends to be a very delayed start here at Kyalami, so the cars wander along.
Green light. Go, go, go.
And we have a green. And as I said, Lucas Burst has got a very good launch. Paul Britt has not, and he's already been taken out. He's going backwards, so I believe we will have a... No, you don't have a safety car. Philippa Bakita defends the inside. Lucas Burst hangs it around the outside, goes 3 wide with Matt Lamb as well. Backs out of it quite wisely, but that caused a little bit of a logjam behind him. There's a lot of cars side by side. Philippa Bakita has successfully defended her pole position. Got Matt Lamb and Lucas Burst in P3, and don't know who that is in P4. I think that's Stephen Ty. That's a good start for him as well.
Yeah, you absolutely called it with the Honda, absolutely trying to challenge for the lead into sort of turns 2 and 3, but as the rest of the cars in front got on the racing line, just absolutely balked the poor Honda of Lucas Burrs as we watch him now. This is the section I warned about earlier, as cars try and get a sneaky move done, but the grip's not always there. Now they're going to go side by side through Le Coupe and down towards Mineshaft. Oh, it almost gets run out wide. It's Regan Herbert. I think that's, is that Betty Floyd currently tangling with at the moment. Ali Kyrud in the McLaren in the back, watching on intently, hoping these two come together. And they're going to still go side by side, and it's going to get down to Cheetah, you feel, and they decide to be smart about it and not go side by side through Cheetah, because that would end it badly.
Yes, well driven to both those guys. We'll Philippa Bakita's out to a half-second lead at the front. Lucas Burst again another half-second back. So that fight has settled. Your picture-in-picture has a pretty gnarly battle through the kink of turn 1 now. We'll probably see a dive in the braking zone in turn 1, and we do. So not sure who it is, but he has managed to get the move done. But that car defending has got the outside line now for turn 5, and I think has ceded position.
Yes, as we see, I think that's one of the BMWs at the back there. Absolutely spins it round. Everybody does well to avoid. So we watch another one of the Hondas. This is McKellar trying to get a move on Hind. Is that? No, I think that Pickford. This is Pickford and Hind battling on.
Yeah, Pickford in the Sol Mercedes. Again, one of those cars that just seems to have been bitten by the BOP bug. Just not really sort of doing much for anything. But Lucas Burst is keeping up with Matt Lamb and starting to pile on a little bit of pressure.
Yeah. Lucas Burrs would really love a track with about an extra 200 to 300 metres of straight on it, just to really use the advantage of that Honda. But as it stands, he will just relentlessly put pressure on the two in front, hoping for a mistake, but they will be very hard to come by from these two. As everybody trades fastest laps, Burrs takes it with a 40.2.
The only 0.6 off your quali pace in race pace is ridiculous.
Yep. Especially with a full tank of fuel in it. Actively weighing you down. Nikita starting to eke a couple of car lengths from Matthew Lamb and just leaving him into the clutches of Lucas Burrs. And this is exactly what Philippa wanted. Just make it so that Lamb is more worried about the car behind than putting pressure on her.
Yeah, she can just cruise and do her own thing, and hopefully let Matt and Lucas have a bit of a battle. As we watch a replay here, it'll probably be from the start. We'll see what happened to Paul Britt there, because I think he just got a little bit of a tap, and Kunos Physics did the rest.
Yeah, very much an exit stage right. There we go. Just got a tap and then tried to correct it and just absolutely sent.
Yeah, it's the Aston behind her. I think just got that much of a better start.
That's yeah, that's hard luck.
Yeah, that's just a race start thing. I think there wasn't any sort of that Aston probably should have realised that Paul would come across given the kink, but it's a race start and weird things happen. So we'll go on board with Kenneth Portis, who is following the Highway Patrol car.
About the only time you want to be. Oh, as we see, who was that? Turned around on the pit entry. That's Benny Floyd. Wonder if that's a victim to cheater. Because a lot of times you'll see cars get spun out into that pit entry when they get cheater wrong. And there is Paul Britt, who's not having the best of times at the moment. Currently down in P24, 1.5 seconds off the car in front. So we jump back to Ristofani.
See who else might have had a mighty start or anything like that. I think Alexis Bowen might have had a less than ideal start in that BMW, as Rialto goes very wide in the Porsche, which is always a bit scary. That rear engine car just wants to pretend like it's a front engine car on the exit of corners most of the time.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you got to sort of drive it on the edge to get the best time out of it. But if you're just not quite there, as you said, the front of the car will swap with the rear. Oh, look at this replay. I think this is the BMW we saw turn around earlier. Yep, that's...
has a nose and didn't really have the right to do it. Send the nose up.
Yep, that will no doubt get looked at by our stewards. And there we go. Zachary Smith gets a drive-through on that lap one collision. So stewards have deemed that Smithy was at fault in that one. There's some more fast slaps get traded into the 39s now.
39.7.
That's a good response from Lamb, trying to just make sure doesn't lose touch with Philippa and also get away from Burrs as well. This is Andika. With a few Astons floating around at the moment, currently in P5, so a pretty good start so far. Trying to put a little bit of pressure on Stephen Ty in the Honda.
Yeah, he's making that Aston work for him. The sole front engine car, once we take Zach Smith out of the equation with his drive-through, sole front engine car all the way down to P12 with Ben Hignett. So he's doing well, and he's definitely putting Steve under some pressure. So we might be seeing a move here into Leocop or Crocodiles. He's very, very close in forcing Steve to go defensive. Probably didn't need to defend Steve there. Don't think a move was really on, but we do have a slipstream, and a move may be on into Crocodiles through the kink of mine shaft.
Yeah, I thought Ndika may have been looking for the over and under, but Stephen parked that Honda exactly where he needed to. Benjamin Piper also with a race control infraction.
Yeah, 15
seconds.
For the incident with the BMW. We'll follow what happened to Benny Floyd at Cheetah. Yep, that's curb. Too much of that.
Yep. Picked it like a dirty nose and straight into the pit entry you go.
Yeah, that's rough. And Regan Herbert managing to avoid death himself as that car was very, very close to him.
As Zachary Smith is now doing the crawl of shame through the pits.
Won't come out last, but if you want to go via retribution, Paul Britt is now in front of him. So some would say that normal service has been resumed. Matt Lamb is less than 3/10 of Philippa.
Yeah, did well to put a bit of a gap between himself and Burrs. Now can focus solely on trying to put pressure on Philippa. An identical machinery, so it's not going to be any advantage one way or the other. Welcome to all the Tully family. I've seen a few of them pop up in chat. What can Lamb do? With only this race and one more to go, can Lamb put a victory together somehow?
Have another replay here. Have Ben Hignett side by side with the Air Force car of Kenneth Portis. We'll go through mineshaft with Kenneth Portis with the inside. They kiss doors, and Regan Herbert gives Ben. I don't think that was Regan actually, but a Ferrari gives Ben Hignett a kiss on the back and lets him watch the action from Crocodiles for a couple of cars.
Yeah, it was a bit of public service on public service violence there, and unfortunately the police ended up worse off. Meanwhile, back at the front, these two are not going away. However, that is allowing Lucas to catch up now. So, just in the background, just lurking if anything happens between these two.
Yeah, definitely, and you can tell Philippa's pushing because she went very, very wide onto that middle straight, and again out of clubhouse, using every single inch of track. She's not relaxed. She is being pushed.
Yeah, she knows what's at stake. Literally needs to win out to overtake for the lead in the championship. So every point very, very important for Philippa. As they make their way downhill now. See, jump on board as well as the helicopter shot. Philippa not making any mistakes, not allowing a chance of an overtake at the moment.
As you said, Lucas bursts and Philippa goes very wide out of Cheetah again. That gives Matt Lamb a chance to close up into the last corner. Philippa probably didn't have her line settled either, so good chance for Matt to set his exit up. And we'll see if Philippa needs to go defensive. As you said before, equal machinery, so no real straight line advantage other than the slipstream being made available. And they all follow each other nose to tail. We have a 3-car train for the lead.
Yeah, I'll tell you who does have an advantage, and that's the Honda in the back there. See how much caught up down the main straight.
See how much time it loses through the middle sector of this circuit as well. But doesn't matter. Matt Lamb is all over the back of Philippa. He's showing his nose, making sure she knows that he's there and he's not going to let her get away with any more than the slightest mistake.
Yeah, absolutely filling the mirrors of Philippa's car at the moment.
We're at the halfway mark. Keep pushing.
As they make their way up towards the coupe. Still 12 minutes, or just over 12 minutes left in this one, so still plenty of time, but you've got to think one mistake and it could put you out of it. So,
Yeah. You
as
go.
Yeah, sorry, I was going to say, as you rightly predicted, just the Honda just loses touch through sort of end of the first, through the second. Might catch up a little bit through some of these faster sections and down the main straight. Whereas these two Porsches are stuck together.
Yeah, all Matt Lamb has to do is just absolutely nail that last corner, which is no mean feat, obviously. And I think Philippa also there went a little bit wide, so not close enough to make a move yet, but definitely showing the nose, almost using sixth gear on that back straight.
Yeah, Matt Lamb would absolutely love DRS at this point. Just an extra K or two down the main straight just to initiate a move. As it stands, you see Philippa there using all of the track and then some.
I think that might have been a speed token. And Lucas Burst, again, has caught up dramatically with Matt Lamb as well. So, and he goes very wide out of Sunset. So, no one is taking it easy. They are all fanging it. There's no fastest laps coming, but they are all on the absolute edge of performance, as we would expect.
Yeah, you just have to wonder, is there some tyre life being taken out? The earlier exchanges, as they went, just traded fastest lap after fastest lap, and then has somebody just spent too much of the tyres early on, and will that hurt them when it comes down the last 5 or 3 minutes? We'll wait and see. Philippa hasn't done too much wrong yet, but Matthew Lamb all over the rear wing at the moment.
Philippa goes very wide out of Cheetah there. Kicks up a big lot of dust. Another chance for Matt to settle in behind her and remind her that he's there. And that another mistake like that she won't get away with.
Yes, this race goes on. You just get the feeling that Philippa's just going to push wide one too many times. Unless you can just dial the line back in again. Watch here. This is one of the spots. Pretty good exit out of there. And Burst as well has got a lot to play for, as race control points out.
35 points, so would need to be a mighty average race from Philippa and a very good race from Lucas for that to happen as things stand right now. But with this pressure from Matt Lamb, she's probably acutely aware of that as well.
Yeah, I think Philippa's mind's only on one thing, and that's maximising every single point she can. As we are now under 10 minutes. So 75 points for first, 60 points for second, and third 50. So, and still one more race to come after this. As we jump down the field a little bit. This is Stephen Ty heading this train, I think.
Yep, they're about 6 seconds off that lead pack, and a bit of a train here again, but Stephen Ty and that Honda with its massive acceleration out of the last corner. And that Aston has turbos the size of a large semi-trailer wheel that take about 10 years to spool up, so really needs to sort of set Stephen up through the windier parts of the track and not go a bit deep into turn 2 if he's got any chance of making a move happen.
Yeah, just saw on the other cam, looked like Lucas Burrs was looking at a move into turn 1. I think Lamb didn't get the greatest exit. As you can see, Philippa has stolen a tenth or two. We'll stay on this one. This is Zachary Smith, as there's a car not moving. Now it's going to be Zach Smith, and is this Paul Britt going side by side?
Paul Britt shunts Zach out the way and keeps the lead through turn 5 there. So, but we can see just the straight line speed advantage that the Aston has in a straight line. Zach Smith has a look up the inside of Sunset and Paul is struggling to keep that Porsche in a straight line with that wide line. So
I think Paul there thought he was going to get a quarter panel full of Aston Martin. But they both managed to negotiate it.
Paul didn't pit for damage after that lap 1 incident, so that Porsche looking a little bit second hand, but we've got another take 2 of this battle down the back straight, and Charles Clark behind in the Doge BMW, waiting to pounce on any other shenanigans these boys might produce.
Yeah, it looks like it might happen. As you can see, Britt is struggling a little bit with the turn in on that car. Obviously, a lot of damage in that turn 1 incident. So there's a bit of dust kicked up by the car in front. So that's Piper in the Bentley. So these two almost on for round 2.
Here we go. Zach Smith's going the outside. We know that Porsche can brake very deep, and Paul Britt's going to maintain the apex, and Zach Smith's going to be forced to go the long way around the corner. Gets the inside line for a little kink here, takes too much curb, and that wipes his speed out, and Paul Britt maintains position.
Yeah, Paul Britt doing very, very well to hold out Smithy. It's, Charles Clark just in the background there. He's catching these two. They are losing a chunk of time with their battle.
We've got a couple of penalties up ahead that'll drag them up a couple of places. So, reverse, is it top? It's top 12, the reverse grid for this one, isn't it?
It's general standard rules is 12 for the ACC. So we'll get confirmation from race control a bit later. But at the moment, as it stands, the top 3 have
10 reverse grid.
Top 10, there we go. So we've got F1 rules in the Pro Series. Meanwhile, Philippa is keeping control of this one at the moment. It's got the gap out to 6/10. So maybe she's just got a little bit more in reserve for these last 4 minutes. Although, as we say that,
Looks a bit less than 6/10, that gap.
yeah, it does. It look like you throw a blanket over the 3 of them at the moment.
But yes, Ali Kai Ruden's currently your race 2 pole sitter down there in P10. Pretty comfortable gap front to back as well, so barring a mistake in this last sort of 4 and a bit minutes, don't see him losing that, especially with Kenneth Fortis and Brad Cook doing battle behind him. That'll probably slow those guys up a little bit.
Jump down to Stephen Ty, currently holding off Andika. Just the straight line speed of that Honda just helping Stephen keep in front of the Aston Martin. A couple of different lines you can take through here. So as you see, the track widens out, then narrows up in the run down to Cheetah.
Definitely gives you the option to sort of think about going side by side through Cheetah, as much as that is not a good idea.
Yeah, I do not recommend that at all. Meanwhile, Charles Clark has got himself between Britt and Smith. There's Bakita now starting to stamp her authority on this race. Has left Lamb a little bit to hold off Lucas Burrs.
Yeah, I think this might have settled down a little bit now. The guys won't give up, but I feel like it's just sort of now waiting for mistakes rather than trying to force them.
Yep. But that will mean Bakita will start P10 behind the likes of Lamb and Burrs. So, given how equal their pace has been for the vast majority of this race, you've got to feel like if one of these drivers can just pick their way through some of the guys higher up. That might go a long way to winning race 2. Very wide there from Matthew Lamb. Tyres just starting to scream enough.
Yeah, 25-minute race, so it's not going to absolutely stretch the tyres to the end of their working life, but they'll be definitely second hand, and the next longer race will be a bit more of a you'll start to see cars use their tyres more at the start of the race or keep them.
So Philippa now, you've got to say fairly comfortable given the context of this race. Meanwhile, it's got a large battle going on further downfield. It's a battle for P4, I think, down. Stephen Ty still leading that train.
Corey Sweet and Rialto Ristofani absolutely nose to tail there through Sunset. So as these tyres age, any mistake you're not going to get away with it with this closer gap, as Rialto goes a little bit wide on the exit of the clubhouse there.
Might also get a formation finish between the two Apple cars.
Plug for them.
Yeah, has them just behind these guys by about 1.4, but as you said, any mistake from any of these guys, it's going to cost them big time.
Yeah, I think those Porsches are safely trapped behind the Honda and the Aston, just have the pace and the straight line speed advantage to really sort of be comfortable, but the two Porsches behind is Philippa. Final corner, 25 minutes comes to an end. She'll come across the line to take P1 in this first race of the Kyalami VRS Pro Series. Matt Lamb P2, 7.5 tenths behind, and Lucas Burst P3. A bit further behind, Stephen Ty leads his pack of 4 cars home. Demario Hasnam follows a bit further behind, and Regan Herbert P9 after a pretty quiet race from him. And Ellie Kyrudin P10 is your reverse grid pole sitter, which is a nice result for him.
Yeah. And then it'll be Portis and Cook. Lexus Bone coming through for P13. And then it'll be Vining, who does have a pen, so that will drop that car down. Klein, McCullough, Wafiq. And then it'll be Piper, Smith, and Britt, who would have a race one they'd rather forget, as race has come to an end. So that's the end of our opening race, as we watch some donuts and some slides from the rest of the field. So Philippa Bakita, in her head, she's got to be saying job 1 done, tick. Well, job 2, because she's got full points for qualification. Now she got full points for the race, and now this is where she needs to tick the box on race 2. But with a reverse grid, that's going to be a tougher ask, you got to say.
Yep, absolutely. So we'll let the bottom 16 or 17 drivers come out and do some qualifying for P11 down.
You got to say Paul Britt's got to be in the box seat to win out for that P11 spot after getting turned around on lap 1.
I've actually just been advised that Philippa cannot win. There is a drop round in the points, so she will lose one of her races. So Grantis is guaranteed the championship at this point, but there's definitely a fight for P2 and P3, as we saw before on with race control, saying that Lucas just needs to outscore Philippa by about 35 points, and Philippa has just gained about 30 or 40 points on him in that first race. So it'll be
Oh, there you go.
a big effort from Lucas to make that up, but weirder things have happened.
So we'll stay with Paul Britt. See if he can right some of the wrongs from race 1.
Let you call that for us, Frank.
Yep, so down onto the main straight. As, just negotiate this little kink as we head down to turn 2. As we make about 100 metres, tip the car in, try and hit that apex, run it out wide, and then sweep left and then right. And for another tricky little left-hander, as you can see there, just had to counter some understeer. Again, you can run that a little bit wide, but you don't want to run it too wide. Now we're through into Sunset. Yeah, not quite heavy braking, but just enough to glide the car through. And then around into this very tricky section. This is Clubhouse. As we go through, and then the left-right catches a lot of drivers out, get too much curb, or you go too wide. It's nothing but bad times. Run out to that little extension of curb up to Lee Coop. And then as you hit the guard post, heavy braking, blind, uphill, left hand. Can take it a couple of different ways, as there's almost 2 apexes on that one. And now downhill into a flat left-hander. Now into Crocodiles. Again, another one you can take a couple of lines. It does widen out, but then narrows up in the run to Cheetah. And now you're staying left as you can. Try not to hit that sausage curb, run it out wide, and then down to about the 50 board and tip it in for the last corner. And we'll watch Britt will be... No, it's Benny Floyd's currently got the lap. Did
He must have invalidated.
they must have validated that one. I don't know where he would have. Now coming across the line. Up to P3. So Smithy currently on pole. Well, currently on P11, I should say. Floyd P12.
If they're waiting for a couple of... Again, Paul Britt, we're expecting a pretty good lap from him, given he was P3, P4 at the end of our first qualifying session, and Connor Hind in the appropriately coloured BMW comes around the final corner to set his first lap time. Again, the BMW not particularly strong here. It takes just over a second off Zach Smith's pace.
So Zachary Smith currently sitting, will start P11. 3/10 gap to Benny Floyd.
Will we see a 39 in this session?
Every chance. Even though this is the bottom end of the qualifying, still some very, very quick drivers in this group. As Smith now comes across the line, does go into a 40 flat, so just outside the 39s. So Britt now with all the work to do, with 2 minutes to go.
Alexis Bowen here in the teal and purple BMW through Sunset, absolutely on the ragged edge of track limits. Gets it tucked into Clubhouse, nicely on the apex curb, and very smoothly drives the car out towards the S's, where you just want to catch the curb. You don't want to take too much of it, you just want to catch it to bring the car around. Gets both of them nicely, doesn't run too wide, and then points the car up the hill towards the apex of Leacop. Gets the car stopped, gets it onto the apex nicely, and then we run downhill for a long stretch into the flat-out left-hand kink of Mine Shaft, where there's a little bit of a bump, which can unsettle the car if you time your gear change wrong, but it's dry, it's pretty much flat out no matter what you do. Stomp on the brakes for Crocodiles. As you said, a couple of lines you can take through here, lets it run out really, really wide, sets the car up for the entry into Cheetah, where you want to just get right on the edge of that sausage curb, navigates that pretty cleanly, gets on the anchors for the last corner, tucks the nose in, and at this point, just nail the exit, nail your gear shifts, and hope for the best when you cross the line. And she improves up to just over a 141. So very good lap. We'll follow Paul Britt, who is in the running for pole, and yet does a 39.9. It is a very handy lap time to take P11.
Yep, and has put the Q in the rack. So Paul Britt could have done another one, but thinks that will be enough. There's Jake McCullough in the Transformers Honda. Currently sitting P9, which translated is P19. His seconds are just about ticked out. What can McCullough do? Hits the line. And this will be the last lap for Jake. Is provisionally P8.
P18, Ben Hignett has put the Q in the rack. Wafik Prinart has also put the Q in the rack. So we'll wait for Benny Floyd, who had an unfortunate incident at Cheetah in the last race. Gets the nose through Learcop nicely and lets the car run down the hill. So we'll see what he can do. Next car across the line, though, is car 84. So Kenneth Portis in the American themed car will show us what he's got.
Be interesting to see how wide Benny Floyd leaves Cheetah. He's probably having the odd flashbacks. Yep. Didn't want to go anywhere near it. Avoided it like it had COVID. Now tips the car in. Currently sitting P3. Needs a big gain to get there and will sit P13. So there we go. That's the bottom qualifying done. Cook to come around. Needs a 10th to dislodge Floyd from P13. Really wide there. And it's not going to be enough. It's only a P14. So there you go. P11, Britt. P12, Smith. P13, Floyd. P14, Cook. Vining will start P15. Portis, 16. Hignett, 17. McCullough, 18. And Bone, 19. So these guys will sort out their grid during the formation lap. And I think it is going to be the McLaren. I think Kai Rudin, will lead us off from pole.
Yeah, Kai Rudin and Regan Herbert P2. So good old McLaren Ferrari front row for any of your F1 fans from about 10 or 15 years ago, back when McLaren were capable of doing good things. There'll be a familiar front row for you guys, but not necessarily the front row you would see if it was a normal qualifying session.
So just about ready for our final race of this VRS Pro Series. It's just starting to tick down to the end of the year where all our seasons are finishing up. So not too much more racing left in this calendar year.
Yeah, we might see some people with a bit of a nothing to lose sort of thing. So we saw in Split Beckett's last night that there can be chaos. So bring it on. Let's see what the fastest drivers OOR has to offer can do for us.
Yeah, you're right. Main thing the likes of Burrs and Paul Britt need to do, they need to try and clear traffic before Philippa can, because their pace was pretty similar as we saw throughout that whole race. But if they can clear a couple of cars earlier and get towards the front, then they may be able to just put enough of a gap that Philippa might not be able to bridge it in time.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to back Lucas Burst to do something that Honda, as we saw, is mighty in a straight line. And we might see that Matt Lamb and Philippa might get a bit trapped every now and then and might have to follow some cars through. So that's probably my bet for who's going to make the most progress, just based on the Honda's straight line advantage. But it would be interesting to see how Ali and Regan do at the front of the field, whether they can hold on or whether the faster guys do end up making their way through and challenging them.
Yeah, what those guys don't want is a whole bunch of incidents that leads to a safety car. So Ali would like to get out in front, have the chaos happen behind him and be able to skip away, but 45 minutes, plenty of time for anything to happen as we just about to head off on our formation lap.
So for anyone unfamiliar with how this works, this one is a little bit messier. We'll see the safety car come up and then the grid will be managed by the race director. We see Ali here pulling out. We'll see Regan follow him down through the field. And they will manually sort the grid out for the time being. And then the formation that will recommence. So the safety car will pull up just after turn 5, I think. Oh, no, we're doing it at the end of the main straight. Cool. So we'll see everyone pull away, stop again, and go from there. Here is Lucas Burst, Matt Lamb, and Philippa Bakita taking their positions in P8, 9, and 10.
Yep, and then we've got the bottom half, you could say, of the grid forming up behind. So there we go, the red and white McLaren of Kai Rudin. It's the perfect opportunity for him to get away and get a good result. 45 minutes. Doesn't look like they need to make a pit stop, but surely you would have to make at least one.
I think you do. I'll go check the rules. I'm not sure if there's a compulsory pit stop for this one. I wouldn't think there is.
Do you think that it would be wise to not pit?
Yeah, there's not enough time to really, we saw, even if your tyres do drop off a little bit, don't think the minute you'd lose in the pits would ever, you'd ever make that up. Especially with the pace these guys have. So I don't see anyone pitting, barring, of course, turn 2 chaos and some damaged egos, as we let the grid form up on this back straight into mineshaft here. Ali Kairudin will take control after Cheetah.
Yep, as they do 2 by 2.
Yeah, looks like we've lost Demario Hasnam, unfortunately, so unsure if he's had to bail out for technical reasons or anything else, so hopefully he's okay as safety car peels off. And Frank, I did race 1, you can do race 2.
No worries. As we get set for the last race of the Pro Series for 2022, sorry. And it's going to be Ali letting him off. We'll hold him a little bit till the flag ticks green.
Green light, go, go,
As we go, Ali steals a massive gap, and the Porsche Ristofani absolutely hounded by Sweet and Herbert behind. As they're going to go 3 wide through turn 1. Looks like it's okay. Philippa, I think, has made a couple of spots off the start. And it looks like everybody is through cleanly as they make their way up to turn 4, I believe this is. Or turn 3 and 4. We do have a yellow flag. Somebody is around at the back.
91, so that's Alexis Bowen, unfortunately. So yeah, I think that start was quite messy. Watching Lucas Burst come through already up into P4. That is a mighty start. Regan Herbert was miles behind Ali Kairudin at the start there. So a bit of chaos at the start. Everyone's gotten through clearly, except unfortunately for Alexis, as I said. And Matt Lamb has definitely got a couple of as in front of Philippa still. They've jumped up to P8 and P9.
Yeah, as you called, Lucas Burst making the best of it, has got a car between himself and Lama Bakita. Can he steal another couple of positions as the safety car just slots its way down the field as Zachary Smith once again in contact on lap 1. Looks like Paul Britt behind it, so these two may get in it. Please don't go side by side through there.
Matt Lamb and Philip Makita both going wide out of Cheetah. And Philippa in trouble from Stephen Ty behind in the Honda, who's got a much better exit than her. And she goes very, very defensive already. Signals her intention to Stephen, who's got, as we said, that straight line advantage. So it'll be whoever can break later now. Round the outside is very, very challenging here, but Philippa makes Stephen try it, and I think quite sensibly loses out there, unfortunately. But Lucas Burst is all over the back of Rialto Ristofani in P3.
Yeah, you're right. I wonder if Philippa just jinking to just go defensive, just held up Stephen Ty just enough, couldn't continue to hold the accelerator down the main straight and lost all the momentum.
It's just the exit was so good and Philippa's was so bad that just there wasn't enough time in the slipstream for the car to really sort of overtake on the straight and get enough crossover. So unfortunately, one of those very few times when being closer is not great, as we watch Corey Sweet and Maulana give each other a bit of a kiss up into Learcop, and Matt Lamb is going to hunt these guys down and make sure that if anything else happens between them, that he's there to take a position off them.
Yeah, almost does go side by side, does Matthew Lamb. Now has Bakita sharking her way through, maybe trying to get a sneaky spot. But it is still Stephen Ty putting a ton of pressure on Philippa at the moment. So
Better for Stephen. A bit more time to keep that slipstream and force her to go defensive. But now he's going to slipstream from Matthew Lamb as well. So he's gotten ahead into the braking zone, but Philippa has braked very deep. Managed to make the apex, and Ali Kairudan is in the middle of the track. What has happened there?
Oh, something has happened to Ali.
I think Regan Herbert as well is somewhere down there. So Rialto Ristofani, we wait to sort of see. No, Regan Herbert is in the lead with Lucas Burst right on the tail there.
Oh, look at this group. Philippa, she's going to be having PTSD with all these cars doing all sorts of things around her at the moment. As she's now almost onto the grass. No, absolutely denied the racing line through that corner. So,
really hard, really fair racing from everyone at the moment, and that is a Ferrari around at the back.
So this reverse grid race has produced the chaos that we feared may happen. Now, this is Zachary Smith, who's up into P8, trying to redeem his round. Someone's saying Ali turned his car off. That's big if true.
You don't want to do that. But Zach Smith does manage to get past Stephen Ty, I think that was. So he'll be next in line to have a look at Philippa down the back straight. But Matthew Lamb has got a car between him and Philippa, which will be a nice place for him to be. And Lucas Burst is very, very close on the back of Regan Herbert. We'll follow that live.
Yep. Going to have to go the long way, though. They're going to go side by side through 3 and up to 4.
Lucas quite wisely gets out of that one because side by side through there is not particularly intuitive. So unfortunately, that battle will pause for a little bit.
Yep. But he does want to clear and get out in front and get away. There's a car. Was that Herbert out in the kitty litter there?
I think it might have been. We'll wait for the standings to update.
There it was. Regan Herbert's must have come a grief through sunset. Or, yep. So, and he's got a penalty as well. So it's just all happened at once for him. So that has meant Lucas Burst has assumed lead of this race. And he is going to get out like he stole that car now. He needs to put as big a gap to the likes of Lamb and Bakita as he can.
We'll wait for a replay to see what exactly happened. We may be blessed now. So
This may be Kai Rudin. It will be. Did get a touch, so this is potentially why Herbert's got a penalty. And it is. Oh, it gets clobbered in the left-hand front wheel. So that'll be damage as well. So Herbert, who I think just set the fastest lap just before that happened, so had a pace advantage over Ali, and unfortunately just got it wrong into turn 2.
Yep. Regan and Ali are both teammates, know each other quite well, so I'm sure that won't be comfortable as Philippa and Corey Sweet go side by side through sunset, and Philippa makes that work around the outside. Very, very nicely done, but that leaves Corey in the clutches of Zach Smith in the Alfa Venturi Aston Martin. Yeah, Lucas Burst from P8 up into P1 with a 1.5 second lead over Rialto Ristofani and a gaggle of Porsches.
It's Honda versus the world at the moment, and the world is all Porsches. As Zachary Smith is the next non-Porsche in P6. So we gonna watch a replay. This is Herbert. So did Herbert get help or no?
On the marbles, car won't turn in on those. Kisses the wall and he'll have a couple of alignment issues, I would say. Yep, he's really struggling out of no, that's not him. It's Floyd. So I'm sure Regan will have some pretty miserable handling as we follow a couple of battles down the main straight.
And Corey Sweet now has got Zach Smith behind, putting all sorts of pressure in the Aston.
And Stephen Tyner Honda ready to take advantage of any shenanigans. Both of them navigate turn 5 cleanly, coming up through to sunset. That's where Regan went off. Not really an overtaking move if you're not already alongside. Stephen Ty goes very deep and very wide. That'll put Paul Britt in the Porsche behind him a bit closer into the clutches and make this possibly a 4-car battle.
Yeah, just saw the car just check up on him through that corner. He had to counter steer it and had to counter steer it into the runoff. So looking at the leaderboard, I think Bakita is about 3.5 seconds off Luke Burst in P1. So Burst with about a 3-second gap to hold on to for the next 35 minutes.
Definitely. I don't think it's enough points for Lucas to jump ahead of Philippa, unfortunately. So Zach Smith puts the nose in, doesn't commit to anything. Starting to see a couple of penalties handed out for that, so it'll be interesting to see what the stewards do. So, but he has made sure that Corey has had to go a couple of defensive a little bit, maybe compromised, and sort of see if he can wind that Aston up and get a pass on the main straight.
As we start to see the times tumble down as people get into their rhythm. Burrs, then Bakita setting fastest laps. So Bakita is catching. Meanwhile, Smithy is going to put the nose up the inside of Corey Sweet. Corey defends. You get the feeling it's only a matter of time. As we go back for old Ali Kairu, now pole sitter is now down in P11 and probably with a fair bit of damage too. Currently holding off Portis. So just not a really great start to this one from Ali. see there, you just see a bit of understeer through that fast right-hander.
Definitely, it's I was looking forward to see what he could do from pole position. He's a very quick driver, and Regan Herbert, to add to his pain, has a 10-second penalty for being out of position at the race start. So pretty messy old second race for Regan, unfortunately. He's already down there in P21, last but for Alexis Bowen. So you might be a bit lonely towards the end, I think.
Yeah, he's going to want to put this race in the bin. So we'll jump back up to Stephen Ty, looking at the back of Zachary Smith. What can Stephen do in the Honda? We'll have a little bit of a pace advantage over the Aston down the main straight, right under the rear wing now.
He's got Corey going defensive into the last corner, but as we saw before, he has to pull out too early to really get advantage of that slipstream, but he's managed to do it before Corey can go defensive. So Zach's got the inside line. So what does Stephen Ty do to Corey? Corey goes really deep on the brakes. Might have bumped Zach on the nose a little bit, but with that outside line, he's managed to carry impressive speed. Gets squeezed onto the curb. Steve Ty has to check up. And Paul Britt behind as well. Managed to get past Stephen Ty and all that mess.
Yeah, he did. Philippa is currently still sitting in P4, but yeah, it was pretty heads-up driving by everyone concerned. Thought there may have been some contact into some of the heavier braking zones, and now is this Ndika now looking up the inside of Stephen Ty. So Stephen Ty fighting all the battles at the moment.
Yeah, and Philippa and Matt and Rialto are 3 Porsches in a line in P2, 3 and 4 at the moment.
Yeah. And Lucas Burrs in front will be absolutely pleading with the couple of cars behind him. Hold up Philippa as much as they can.
Rialto won't give up P2 without a fight. And
Yeah.
they're all in equal machinery, so it will take skill or tyre care towards the end of the race. And Philippa has really got hard onto the back of Matt Lamb, who definitely makes up a lot of time on Rialto in the final corner. But they Constantine are out, and now it's down to slipstreams, which Philippa has got a little bit of a toe. Don't think it's close enough to make a move without a really silly dive.
She's the last of the late breakers, though, as we have seen. But Rialto doing very well to defend from the class of driver he's got behind him. Currently holding on to P2 as much as he can.
Yeah, best thing for him to do is just turn your mirror off. Don't worry about them. If they're going to make a move, they'll make a move. But
Yep.
drive your own race. Do your own pace. If they get past, it's unfortunate, but so be it. As they all waggle their bum out of sunset.
Yeah, Philippa especially. You can see how wide she uses every centimetre of traction she can to hustle that Porsche around. Meanwhile, Stefani looking back at Lamb, who's trying to get a move done, preferably without also letting Bakita through.
Yeah, Rialto not defending fresh air, taking his own line. He knows he's got Matt behind him, but there's no point defending if he can't make a move. So maintains his pace. Ben Piper, unfortunately, as well has messed an early end. Thank you, John. But again, everyone goes wide through Cheetah, so everyone's pushing. Everyone wants that P2 from Rialto, but at the moment, he's holding on pretty well.
Yeah, he's definitely not giving it up. He knows it's probably his best opportunity to get onto the podium. As we watch now, so everybody just closes up. Meanwhile, Lamb went a little bit wider than the other two out of corner 2. And now you can see Philippa all over the back. And he's potentially looking at a move into sunset. Potentially, yes, has got it done.
Nicely done again. Around the outside on the entry. and enough pace for that front splitter to have enough grip to negate the fact that we are driving on the marbles.
Yeah, it's amazing how much grip she's got out there. It's at least the second overtake that we've caught, she's done around the outside there. It's a very tough corner to do that at.
And I think Rialto might be sweating a little more.
Yep,
And,
the old heart rate would have gone up.
and Matt Lamb might be a little bit dirty, I'd say. He'll be wanting that back.
Yep. You want to stay within the towing distance of Philippa, though. Or hope that Philippa just doesn't get the move done straight away. Gets held up a little bit. There's the gap now between Philippa and Lucas is just over 3 seconds. As we have a look further downfield, this is McCullough looking at a move on the other Apple Porsche of Wafik. But he's also got Clark behind as well, looking at maybe getting a move of his own done. So Jake's got his hands full at the moment, both defending and attacking.
Yep, we're watching Brad Cook on the back of Michael Pickford's Sol Mercedes, which is pretty grunty in a straight line. That's that's Ben Piper coming out of the pit lane, unfortunately now a lap down. Pickford managed to brake late enough to force Cook to hold on for another lap. Shame we don't see more Mercedes. I love it. I reckon it looks fantastic. Picture-in-picture camera 2. Rialto holding off Philippa for the time being. Matt Lamb still hanging on to the back of them. And again, Rialto not feeling the need to defend, which is a good sign. Means he can get his exit done right and rely on Philippa to have to use the slipstream, not a compromised exit.
Yep, and this is everything that Lucas wants. But as you said, Rialto doing a tremendous job here, holding off one of the fastest drivers in the country, you got to say at this point.
If not the world.
If not the world. But wide there. That's maybe just going to knock a bit of speed down the main straight as we watch Clark, McCullough and Wafik in a three-way battle at the moment. Every position important for these guys.
Yep, Ali's got Kenneth Fortis in the Honda on his tail. He's gone defensive early. Kenneth will duck out to the outside, try and see if he can brake later than the McLaren. The McLaren known for being able to brake very, very deep. Manages to keep P11 from Kenneth.
Yeah, you can tell by the front of that car, Ali's had a fair whack of damage.
Holding on very, very well. And Kenneth's going to have another lap to look at that McLaren's diffuser.
Yep. Meanwhile, Bakita still hasn't got past Ristafani yet. And all the while, Lucas Burst is just managing to eke out a 10th or 2 a lap. As that gap now is at about 3.7 seconds. That would have been an ambitious move, I thought, for a second there. Philippa was going to look at a move there into the Crocodiles.
Yep, just showing a nose, making Rialto think about defending, because it would have been ambitious, but we've definitely seen it, as Kenneth right on the back of Ali Kyrud and down through Mineshaft. It's got the outside for Crocodiles. Can't make the switchback work and tucks in behind for Cheetah. Ali is really struggling to get the nose turned in for that one. Has to go defensive on the last corner. Kenneth goes deep and probably actually sets himself up for Connor Hind. No, wait, the Honda does Honda things on the exit and just goes away.
Yep, I think he's going to get it done, although Kai Rudin fairly stout defending, but I think that Honda's just going to have its nose in front, although had to go deep. and it's just going to allow Ali to outbrake the Honda.
Absolutely, I think he's suffering more in a straight line speed sense, I would say, with that damage rather than specifically handling.
Yeah, tell you what, Portis will be absolutely tearing his hair out at the moment. He didn't have his hands full of steering wheel.
Paqueta's down the inside of Rialto into Leocop. And that'll set up Matt Lamb to have a look at Rialto as well as we come down through Mineshaft. Matt's really the only one with a toe here.
Oh, that's a
Rialto loses the back end over that bump in Mineshaft, and Matt Lamb managed to get past Rialto as well, so unfortunately it's rained and poured for Rialto there.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if Philippa just did a little bit of a jink towards the right on the run down to the Crocodiles, and maybe just spooked Ristofani just a little bit. But regardless, it does mean that Philippa now has to find 4.7 seconds over Lucas Burrs to take the lead, and has 22 minutes to do it in.
Yep, and Kenneth has gotten past Ali in the wounded McLaren, who has got a gaggle of cars behind as well that want his place in the world as well.
Yeah, unfortunately for Ali, it's not going to end there. It's going to be a whole queue of people looking to pick off the McLaren.
So Philippa with 5 seconds to find in 20 minutes. It'll be a mighty effort to do that. But as we've seen before, she's one of the faster people in the world. If anyone can do it, it is probably Philippa Paqueta.
Yep, but as we always say, it's always one thing to catch someone. It's another thing entirely to pass. And Lucas won't be, much like Ristofani, will not be a pushover to get around.
No, and as we've seen already, it'll be challenging in the Porsche to get past the Honda without a mistake from Lucas. So he won't be comfortable, but it'll be one thing bringing peace to his mind.
Yeah, definitely will struggle to overtake down the main straight, which is probably your main overtaking opportunity. That Honda will be very slippery. As we jump down to Paul Britt, currently look in the back of Corey Sweet's Porsche.
Nice and close in the slipstream, so you'll definitely think about a move. And the Aston behind of Maulana will be waiting with bated breath to see if he can take advantage of anything, as Paul goes very, very wide through the kink and sort of puts everyone else behind him off a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if he was looking at a move or trying to defend from the Aston. It was a little bit weird. He went very, very wide. Normally, if you're going to look at a move, you'd only pull maybe 1 or 2 car widths, but almost cross the pit line on the exit there. Anyway, holds on.
Here's PTSD from the Aston first race. Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, he just sees that badge and main straight and
Which is,
just yeets the car to the left, which is understandable.
yeah, Corey Sweet went a very wide on the exit of the S's there. Paul Britt makes up a huge amount of time under braking for Leocop. Don't think we'll see a move here, but it's definitely setting up for something on the main straight, I would say.
Yeah, just needs to nail that exit. And if Corey Sweet doesn't hit the gear shifts exactly right, might be losing a position down into turn 1. However, saying that, Paul Britt doesn't get the move done. And it's a little bit clumsy as we watch the Aston in the background just get a little bit wide out of Cheetah.
We haven't seen any drive-throughs or anything for track limits, so they are quite kind here, especially in the shorter races, but definitely potential for a couple of these guys to be... We're watching Maudana have a look around the outside of Paul Britt here into turn 2. Can't make it stick, but definitely proof that the straight line of that Aston clearly superior to the Porsche of Paul Britt.
Yeah, that's cost Paul Britt a bit of time to Corey Sweet, so Corey with a little bit more breathing room now. As we tick to just under 20 minutes. While the gap at front is now 4.4, so Philippa has got that gap down. And he's on pace to catch up with Lucas at that rate before the end of this one.
It is bouncing back and forth a little bit, but yeah, as you said, starting to come down a little bit. I think there's a bit of a battle down there for P17 and 18, Clark and McKellar as well. So we'll keep an eye on that one as well for you all.
It looks like it's Wafik, McKellar and Clark, all three of them. As we jump to it now, this is on board with Clark. Has a look into Lee Coop. Will go side by side, and McKellar's looped it. Went too wide, had to put too much lock on, and has now lost not just to Clark, but to Hignett as well.
And Piper, but Piper's a lap down, so that will get blue flag through again, which is mighty annoying for the Bentley, unfortunately.
Yeah, meanwhile, Ali Kai Rudin holding on to P12, but does have Connor Hind, who's in a slightly less damaged car than Ali. But Ali does have enough straight line speed and enough under the braking zones to not allow Connor to have a look.
Kenneth Portis hasn't really blown away from Ali as much as we might have expected, so Ali's coping well with that damaged car. Might be one of those things where, you know, if you damage a car, it starts handling better because you've got a different alignment.
Yeah, well, Kenneth just was using the advantage of the toe behind Ali. And now with that toe gone, just not putting in the same lap times as he was. But Connor Hind will be looking to get a move done through Ali at some stage, you'd feel.
So he's definitely got an advantage through that middle sector with sort of you are loading the front wheels, and a good alignment is necessary. So race control with some live standings. Grant Zakarikis 474 points, P2 Philip Bakita 410, Lucas Burst P3 with 378. So at the moment, car number 1 has enough to hold on to P2.
Yep, but she'll be looking at trying to get the race win, as that gap is now under 4 seconds. So as we're talking about, still 16 minutes to go. Currently lapping in around the 1 minute 40, so you'd have to say there would be about 10 laps, 9 laps to go.
Yeah, give or take, and she's getting about 3-ish tenths, so all things being equal, it'll be tight towards the end of the race, but as you said before, it's one thing to catch up. As McKellar attacks Ben Hignett round the outside of turn 2, doesn't tend to work well, so settles in behind.
Yes, now with the Dogecoin car, trying to get a move done past Lafik. What can Charles Clark do? I don't think it's going to be here. Goes super wide through the exit of Sunset. This section here is where we see the Porsche really come alive. Seen Akita get moves done through there and through Sunset as Charles Clark takes the dirt tracking a little bit.
Be a warning. And Matt Lamb has also fallen 1 and a bit seconds off the back of Philippa, so barring anything weird happening, would not expect him to form part of that lead battle should it arise. As Paul Britt has Maulana right on his tail down the main straight. Not close enough for a move, but he does have a think about it. Just make sure Paul knows he's there and that he will do it. helping Corey Sweet just hold P6. Fair way off Zach Smith in P5, who's closed right up to Rialto Ristofani as well. So unfortunate Rialto couldn't really hold on to P2 for a bit longer. It would have been a pretty spectacular battle.
It's Philippa Bakita puts in the fastest lap in her quest to chase down Lucas Burrs with a 1 minute 40.4. There's some support from Diebols for Smithy in chat. And I think this is Kai Rudin still holding off the BMW, which is a fairly commendable job with the amount of damage that McLaren does have.
Yeah, he's a quick driver, Ali. He will get a fair amount of any car you give him. And I think tonight's just proof as well that he will continue to fight regardless of what he's got. Very unfortunate that instead of turn one, I would have liked to see sort of how far he and Regan could probably have held the lead of a race. Yeah. So he's doing well down there in P12, holding off a couple of pretty rapid cars behind him in that wounded McLaren.
Yeah, it just wasn't to be for Ali tonight.
And Philip has only made up 2 or so tenths in the past lap or two, so Lucas probably settling into a better pace, or just his tyres in the different phases. We want to go on board with Hignett, who's holding off McKellar.
Yeah, you would think that Philibert had to spend her tyres a lot more than what Lucas had to, trying to get through the likes of Ristofani. So, be interesting to see if Lucas is just trying to pace this one out, just have enough tyres in stock to be able to put in some quick times towards the end and help defend if indeed Philippa does catch up towards the end of this one.
Yeah, we'll follow Zach Smith on his hunt of Rialto Ristofani. Aston, as we've mentioned a couple of times, needs a little bit to get going on a straight, but once it gets going, if Rialto makes any mistake, it will fly past that Porsche.
Yeah, it took a lot of the exit curb, did Ristofani, and now it's just going to invite Smithy potentially look at a move into turn one. Nope. Rialto doing all the right things, parked that car on the apex, didn't give Smithy a sniff of it.
Again, knowing very, very well when he has to defend. No point compromising his line if there's no chance of Smithy on getting past. So, very good awareness from Rialto here. Goes very wide through Sunset. Zach follows him. So these tyres start to get a little bit tired. Excuse the pun. Car's not quite performing the way they were at the start of the race, but fuel coming out of the car as well. So those cars that sort of the stability front to rear will be changing lap by lap as the tyres wear down and the fuel goes down as well.
Yep. As we see, Burrs is actually managing to stabilise that gap a little bit. So it's hovering it around 3.5. It was down to about 3.2 about half a lap ago. But Lucas is now maybe just turning the wick up a little bit. Just trying to make sure he has enough gap to hold on for the race win.
I think Lucas has got it. I think being able to stabilise the gap is a bit of it's a psychological message as much as anything, that I know Philippa doesn't give up easily, but it is proof that he does have the pace to take it to her.
Yeah. And you're right, the pace through the main overtaking opportunity is just so much in the advantage. As we watch a move here. This is Ranma trying to get past Britt. I think it's going to hold on. Yes. Gets the nose in front, holds the line. And that is Ranma through.
Now Paul's got Steve Ty on the back of him as well. It was both cars really challenged the apex there of turn 2. Albrit defending very, very late, and Rama taking a very, very skinny gap to play in that apex. Little bit of a bump on the way through, but nothing too untoward, I wouldn't think. We'll get a replay of this from helicopter cam.
So goes defensive, but just went too late and just opened the door just enough for Rama to get the nose through. Held the line through the kink, and then it was all over. So Rama now going to head up after Sweet. Meanwhile, this battle at the back here involving Clark and Wafiq and Hignett.
And McKellar.
And McKellar just out of shot. They make their way down through the third sector of this track. Wafiq trying to emulate his brother in Apple in Ristafani in defending from all challenges behind.
I was a bit deep into the last corner there, which has compromised his exit. Don't think he'll be at risk to Ben Higgler behind, but it's definitely given Wafiq a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, saw McKellar losing the car at Le Coupe earlier.
He didn't find the wall, so he's been able to continue.
Yeah, it was a half-decent recovery. Didn't have to park the car for too long. Got up and going. Meanwhile, Stephen Ty looking at the back of Paul Britt. Meanwhile, that gap is now under 2, so Philippa has responded. As we tick down to just under 7 minutes, his time just slipping away from Philippa though. Meanwhile, Paul Britt looking for a good result, goes wide through Cheetah, and that is Stephen Ty going deep, losing time. As
Chance to breathe as Charles Clark grabs 10 seconds for causing a collision, so don't think we saw that. Might wait for a replay on that one.
Yeah. Or was that maybe where McKellar got looped at Le Coupe? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. Well, hopefully, if there was something we didn't see, grab a replay. And that gap back up to 3.5 seconds, so I think there might have been some Kunos timings at play there, I'd say.
Okay. Well, that kind of makes our jobs hard.
We've got a replay here.
Oh, this is... no, this is... Oh, just a touch. And... yeah, so a little bit awkward, but everybody got away with it, and stations pretty much as they are with McKellar, Hignett, Clark and Wafiq.
McKellar has gotten past Hignett, so I would have thought 10 seconds a bit harsh for that little tag, but we move on. And Hignett's got to find a way past that very yellow Honda of McKellar.
Yep, and Clark will have 10 seconds appended, so it's not going to really matter where Clark finishes in this group. He's going to lose all these positions.
Yeah, Alexis Bowen 15 seconds off the lead, so off this, so you'd sort of think down to P18 where Ben Hignett is right now.
Meanwhile, so Zachary Smith is now caught onto the back of Ristafani. Can Aristofani hold on for 4 minutes? I would dare suggest he held on for much longer than 4 minutes against Filippo Paqueta, so does have the ability.
Be sick of having very rapid cars in his mirror, though, I reckon.
Yep. Just got to hold on for 4 more minutes. Meanwhile, out in front, you've got to say time is against Philippa now. But there is still many battles going on. There is our race leader. Haven't seen much since he took the lead. Took the lead off Regan Herbert, if I believe.
Yeah, after Regan unfortunately went off at sunset. Didn't quite nail the turn in, and the back end of that Ferrari decided it wanted to pretend to be the front end for a little bit. So unfortunately, we've lost Regan from the race. So our front two cars have both sort of dropped out of the top 10, which is a bit of a shame. So Lucas with a reasonably comfortable gap back to Philippa now, so, and probably 2 more laps to go. This is where Regan went off the back end of that Ferrari, just not wanting anything to do with what the front end was asking it to do.
Yeah, just did not want to turn, and he had to turn out of it, but unfortunately in turning out of it, sent it into the wall. So, as you said, probably about 2 laps to go. You got to say Philippa's pretty much resigned herself to not going to catch Lucas Burrs, much less pass. However, Zachary Smith feels like P4 is still there.
He sold Rialto a little bit of a dummy into turn 2 there. Didn't cost them too much time, but the fight is on.
Yeah, more importantly, Aristofati didn't buy it. So Smithy now has got to figure out where's his best opportunity. Still got to say it's turn 1, but we'll need an absolute dynamite exit out of turn 1 down the main straight.
It just doesn't quite have the pace through this middle sector to really sort of set Rialto up with a bit having to go defensive into crocodiles.
Yep, Audley Coupe here is also a generally a good opportunity to pass, but as you said, the Porsche so strong through that second sector. As we catch a replay here, this is suddenly seeing a rear of a McLaren in your window.
Ouch.
It's not what you want.
Well handled.
So Smithy now realising opportunities are now in the single digits.
Alright man, the leader is on the final lap. Give it a final push.
Lucas Burst just crossed the finish line, so this will be the last lap. So realistically, if Smithy can't get it done here, it'll take a mistake from Rialto somewhere else along the track.
Yep, all a massive send as Smithy looks, but does not have enough. Is not far enough alongside, and now he's probably going to have to settle in because this is where the Porsche really shines here.
Yep, definitely going to rely on Rialto to make a mistake here.
And just between you and me, I really hope Rialto holds on to P4. It's been a magnificent drive from Rialto today in this race. Has nailed Sunset.
Clubhouse as well, so he'll pull away a bit from the Aston here through the S's, where the Porsche really shines and just has so much grip and poise. We'll catch a replay here of quite a mess into Sunset.
This is early laps, obviously. This is Philippa Paqueta picking her way through. I think that's Sweet. Is that either Sweet or Floyd in the Porsche next to her? Oh, just was told there's 2 ways you can go through. It's either on the grass or through the car itself, and the laws of physics don't allow for the second one. So
Lucas Burst
Let's finish the race.
takes the win in race 2 here in Kyalami. Philippa Paqueta put in a mighty chase, ends up 2 and a bit seconds behind. Matt Lamb, another 2 and a bit seconds behind. Rialto Aristofani holds on for P4 in front of Zach Smith in P5. Corey Sweet has hold off Rama for P6, P7 Rama, P8 Paul Britt, after a pretty busy 2 races for him. Ben Floyd P9 and Stephen Tai in a wounded Honda will come home, barring any weird things happening in P10.
Yep. So that's driver's just crossing the line into Kai Rudin, who is going to hold off Connor Hind in a fairly good effort in a very wounded McLaren, and then it's going to be Michael Pickford Clark, who does have a penalty, so that'll drop him down to about P17, and everyone else will move up 1. And then Alexis Bone, who's, you got to say, he's had a pretty miserable race 2.
Yeah, Alexis is pretty allergic to luck, unfortunately, so she'll be thankful that is over. Brad Cook, don't know if he was down in P18 all this time. He must have had something happen to him, so he will be our last finisher. Piper, of course, behind him, but was a couple of laps down, so he has already taken the checkered flag. And that is it for the VRS Pro Series for 2022. We'll catch a couple of donuts and some cars kissing each other.
Yep.
Anyone under 18, ask your mum and dad what that is.
Yep. So massive congratulations to Granis Karekas, who dominated the first 3 rounds and will take the series win. Philippa Bakita will finish runner-up to Lucas Burrs. So that is your podium for the championship. As we go through the results of race 2, Lucas Burrs, P1. Bakita, just not enough laps in the end. Will finish P2. Lamb, P3. Ristafani, in a stout defending effort, will finish P4. Then Smith, Sweet, Ranmar, Paul Britt, Floyd, and Stephen Tai will round out your top 10. And then it's the likes of Portis, P11. Kai Rudin, who was our pole setter, will finish P12, just in front of Connor Hind. And then Pickford, McKellar, Hignett, Wafiq, Clark, and Alex Bone, who didn't have a great show of it in race 2. And then I think the rest are all retirements. Cook, I think, finished. I think Piper, Herbert, Vining, Hasnam, Davis, and Brooke, I think, were all retirements.
There were. G'day, guys. I'm back.
G'day, Malik. How'd you enjoy that, mate?
Well, that's fantastic. Absolutely insane, those first 10 to 15 minutes. I didn't know. I had so many replays this show, but I just couldn't take my eyes off the main action. If you guys want to hang around, what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to put the highlights on for the past race, and I'm just going to crunch some numbers, and I'll be right back. So I'll put something on now to show it off, and hopefully ACC has done cool things and got something worth showing.
We'll give it a crack. Alex Bowen, unfortunate with those leg cramps. As I said, I think you're pretty allergic to luck, so hopefully next year will be a bit more pleasant for you.
Yeah. Who was it, David Reynolds, that had the leg cramps at Bathurst that year? Someone in chat will be able to
He
tell
hasn't
me.
done much in his career, has he?
Hey, he's won Bathurst.
Oh, you know, it's Bathurst. Nothing.
As we go through the replay of, as we see, a lot of 3-wide action, and then you see, I think, Alex Bone at the back there just getting turned around. So, yep. Yeah, you should be, though. Do your job, come on. As we stick with Philippa, as still some 2 and 3-wide action through the opening lap. And that's not too bad through this sort of section. See the Honda there with Stephen Tai, who I thought may have put some pressure on Philippa Bakita in the opening laps. As we see here.
Yes, Peach, we do call sweet treats lollies, because that is what they are called.
Oh, and that's, yeah, Stephen Tai, unfortunately, was under the rear wing of Philippa, but just had a window full of McLaren and just lost time.
Get a replay of what happened to Ali here. Very unfortunate. Regan just missed his braking a little bit. Gets into the back of Ali, sends him round, and then not enough time for... Was that Rialto that went into the front of you?
I think it was. I think Rialto was potentially carrying damage for
That's mighty.
Nearly the entire second race. So that's even more respect for Rialto to hold on to P4 if that's the case. As we look down the field even further, it's Kai Rudin again and Portis behind. As we see some of the sadness. The highway patrol car obviously coming out of the side road to nab someone. But yeah, Portis looking at a move there at Kai Rudin, but Kai Rudin too good to fall for that. Got some replays. This is Bakita once again. I think this might be one of the moves around the outside through Sunset.
These were impressive.
Yeah, there's no grip out there. It's all marbles, but Bakita just swoops down in front, back onto the line. Didn't spend a lot of time out on the dirty stuff. Just could carry the speed through the corners. So it just shows you the caliber of driver she is. This is poor old Pertek. Wonder if this is a little bit of sadness. Has come up to Lee Coop, I think this is. Yep. Nope. All good through there.
It's really nice wanting to make an example of an excellent display of racing lines here from Brad Cook.
Yep. So good on Cookie. Now this is a three-way battle. Looks like it's Stephen Ty looking at the back of Zachary Smith, I want to say. Oh, that's some late braking. But not enough in the end.
That was Benny Floyd lining with Zach Smith. This is where Kenneth Portis got past Ali Kai Rudin, and that wounded McLaren just did not have the straight line to fight with anyone today, unfortunately. But still held on pretty manfully.
Yeah, it'll be a case of what ifs for Ali. But you can see the gaggle of cars just starting to line up behind Ali at that point. And well, back to Stephen Ty in the Honda. Just absolute buckets of straight line speed into turn one, or two, sorry, officially.
Yeah, Porsche can just brake so late. Really got to have the car alongside and almost past to get past a Porsche, especially one driven by someone like Paul Britt.
This is Wafik in the Porsche.
Yeah, there are some names at the top right there actually, which is helpful.
Oh, okay.
Covered by the Pro Series logo, unfortunately, but
Yeah, just can't see it.
we do our best.
Yeah, it's the first time I've actually noticed it there. There's something new in the last round of the year.
We'll have to put that Pro Series logo in the top left for next year. Learn our lesson.
Yep. Always learning lessons at OOR. This is Paul Britt chasing down Corey Sweet, I think.
Steve Pye going very wide on the exit of Cheetah.
You'd rather be on the exit of Cheetah than on be wide at Cheetah than too narrow.
Yes. Unless you really want to get a cool screenshot of the car in here. As McKellar gets a bit of a wiggle going on the exit of the S's, and Charles Clark sails around the outside of Leocock. We missed that in the broadcast, but that's pretty nicely done.
Yeah, that was a good overtake. As I said, Lee Coop, one of the few places is a mainstay of overtaking. Meanwhile, this is Kyrun holding off Portis for what seemed like the 30th or 40th lap in a row. But I think this might be the time Portis might just have enough to get it done. He's alongside, and it was. Nope, I'll tell a lie. Somehow Ali manages to pull up that that McLaren. This is Philippa finally getting the move done on Ristofani potentially.
She got the inside into Leah Kopp. Didn't have it on the main display. It was picture in picture, but as you said, pretty simple place to send it up the inside if you get a good run out of the S's, and that unfortunately put Rialto offline, and Matt Lamb was able to follow Philippa through as well.
Yeah, it's probably one of the times that Ristofani should have defended, but chose not to. Ended up costing. Some side-by-side action through Crocodiles. Oh, through Mineshaft into Crocodiles, I should say. And yeah, that's where the move got done by Kenneth Portis. This is Charles Clark in the Dogemobile.
Glad City ended that repainted.
Well, crypto will be in the bin by the time we run this next year. There'll be no crypto.
So.
It's like Formula One. All the crypto sponsors have pulled out.
I hope everyone bought their Donald Trump NFT.
Yeah. I'll hold my tongue on that.
And with that, I will have to bid you all farewell and good night. It was an excellent night of racing. Really good, really clean from everyone as we watch McKellar.
Great timing, mate. Tag him in. Thanks very much, Tom, for your work this season. Awesome stuff, mate. Appreciate it.
No stress at all. Thank you for having me, guys. Have a good night, chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Righto, Frank, I'm all sorted, mate. If you want to go put your feet up, grab a beverage, I'm going to go
worries,
through
mate.
some of the standings right now. So I might leave this on in the background just for the time being. I don't think there's anyone else left for the server. But anyway, thanks very much for your help once as always, mate. Appreciate it. Have a great Christmas.
No worries, you too. Thank you. Thanks,
See you,
everyone.
mate. All right. I'm just going to put this screen up. I'm going to cut the short for these replays. And there we are. We are at Kyalami. We're going to replay this round. It wasn't quite enough carnage. And we're going to do some little bits of things. Thanks for joining us, chat. It's been a great season. It's been a great year, to be honest. Much love to all of you, especially all you patrons out there, all your supporters, all your stewards, all your everything, all your mums and dads, all your pets, especially if they're a dog. All right, let's discuss some of the standings for the final juggernaut of a race. Congratulations to Grantas Caracas. He has picked up the championship, but we knew that heading into today. But it was a bit of work to be done to decide the remaining top two in the top three. I can announce Philippa Makita has done enough tonight. She finishes on 413 points, finishing 61 net points behind Caracas. And in P3, it is Lucas Burrs holding off Matthew Lamb. He finishes with 378. Matthew Lamb, 324, just missing out on that top three. So how it works, we'll just discuss the prizes. I have about 15,000 tabs open. I look like a 14-year-old, discover the internet right at this moment. Let me just bring a few things up. So the winner picks up $500 plus a VRS prize pack of some shirts, boots and gloves. As far as P2 goes, they pick up $250. P3 picks up $100. Those three are out of the running for the next draw. So congratulations to Caracas, Bakita and Burrs. The top 10, they all get their money back, so they get $10, which will be Matthew Lamb and Dika Rama Malana, Stephen Ty, Paul Britt, Zachary Smith, Benjamin Hignett, and just sneaking in there in the great final round is Corey Sweet. So congratulations to you guys and girls. One random driver will go into the draw for $50, which we'll do in a second, and then we do another prize draw for a coaching session, VRS Pro subs, and another set of gloves. Cash pool was the same. It's pretty much half of us our money, half of your money. Hopefully it increase next year. So it's been a fantastic start. Now I've got to find my little doobie lucky. If you're in the sprint series, please hang around because your draw's coming up right next. Right. I hope this is the right one. It is the right one. Okay, so this is the random prize draw for the $50. For those of you who won, raced in 3 at least rounds out of the 4, and also weren't in the top 3. So I'll click this button. This is for $50. Don't shoot me. And it is Benjamin Piper. That is kind of fitting because he had a disaster of a series, considering he was a madman and picked a Bentley. So Benjamin Piper, $50 coming your way. Congratulations. So take your name out of the hat. The next one is for a one-on-one VRS coaching session, thanks to the guys at VRS. And that will go to Callum Gibbons, who's not even here. I hope you're feeling better, mate. Congratulations, you've picked up a one-on-one VRS coaching session with VRS. Hope you're feeling better soon, mate. This next one is a 12-month VRS Pro subscription. Especially for those that do some iRacing, it could come in handy. Thanks to the guys of VRS. Kenneth Portis II. Well done, Kenneth. Kenneth is actually our race director for the North American Split Corks. It's been a fucking long week. The next one is a 3-month subscription for VRS. It's Paul Britt. Paul Britt. Very unfortunate race tonight for Paul Britt. It was ended up being one of his drop round. So yeah, he fought back well. He put his head down. He didn't quit, and I definitely commend that. And the last one is a set of VRS sim racing gloves. These ones might not be actually VRS. These would be something else because the VRS ones, quote, via them are not very good. That it goes to the start button. Joshua Morgan, another one that's got COVID. There you go, COVID wins prizes. So congratulations to the 4 of you. And that is the Pro Series done and dusted again. Congratulations to Gruntus Caracas picking up the championship in our inaugural season here of the VRS Pro Series. We're going to be back next year for 2 more with ACC. Next up, we are going to do the Sprint Series. Okay, 2 lucky patrons will win a prize valued at $400, but I will speak to you because there's a little that could go towards something else you might like. So there's a little bit of wiggle room here for you guys. Again, thank you very much to all the patrons. You know, you guys are the MVPs. You keep everything flowing. You help me tick over as well. Otherwise, the missus would shoot me, and we don't want that just yet. Still a bit early. All right, so this is the first person to win in the patrons that competed in the Sprint or Rookie Series. Dale Lawson, you are fucking joking. That man has more luck than I'd ever admit. But well done, Dale. He's been a big supporter of OOR for quite some time now. Appreciate you and all your support, mate. So I'll be in touch with you very soon. And the next person and final prize winner for 2022 goes to Sean Remfrey. Sean Remfrey. You've won the prize pack as well, sir. So congratulations to Dale Lawson and Sean Renfrey on winning the Sprint Series / Rookie Series Patreon prize pack. Thanks to Simrigs, one of the best in the business, if not the best. It's got the best customer service, awesome prizes, products, and everything else. And I am ready for bed. But again, thank you everyone for joining and competing this season in whatever season you competed in, whether it was rookies, the Sprint Series, the Pro Series, the Endurance Series, the Grand Tour when you bought the Rock Cup, the Porsche Cup, bit of everything. But yeah, big thanks to the Simrigs for getting involved this season. Also to VRS. Also, we're going to have Per Mobile involved next season with some stuff. But again, thank you very much for... Oh, gifted subs. Who was that? Hamster. Thank you very much, Hamster. Much love to you. So yes, I'm looking forward to the break, and I'm also looking forward to a massive 2023, and I hope all of you stay safe and have a great holidays. Shout out to all the stewards. No matter if you spent 5 minutes in there, I don't know why you'd spend 5 minutes in there, but if you spent one race in there or 12 months in that steward office, from everyone that races in OOR and in sim racing, thank you very much for contributing your valuable time to a hobby that we all love. So many thanks. Same goes with all the commentators and broadcasters. 100% you guys are fantastic in what you do, and I'm sure everyone in chat will agree that it makes these races much more fun. Anyways, chat, I'm about to sign off. Oh, we've got one more thing. Oh no, I can't forget this. This is the most important. Who is your pick for the worst livery of the week in the Rookie Series? The winner, by knockout, is, I think it's this one. Number 6, Mercedes. I don't know who that is, but you're the winner. So well done. Good on you. Now, spend the off-season working out how to draw nice-looking cars. You've only got to press a few buttons. No worries, Wombat. Thank you. Thank you, Barbecue Bun. Thanks, everyone in chat. It's Vintage's alt account. No, well... And whilst we've decided, that looks actually pretty good. Who agrees that looks alright? So the rookies, over the off-season, if you're competing next season, work on actual bad liveries. That'd be good. Work on some bad liveries. But that one looks alright. That one looks shite. That one wins. Well done, chat. GG's, firm handshakes. Done and dusted. Alright, on that note, make sure you stay tuned over the holidays. We're going to have some fun stuff on AMS too, some ACC stuff on some random cars and random tracks. We're going to do some fun stuff. Especially if you're patrons, we might do some Jackbox or some Fall Guys or something toxic, because why not? Because it's the holidays. Let's get amongst it. Take care. Stay safe, and until next time, I'll see you in 2023.